3D prints like these have made trips like my 3,500 kilometer trip from Toronto to Halifax and back, and all my various camping trips so much better. And the Tesla Model 3 is already an excellent road tripping vehicle. And the first item on the list is a 3D printed sunglasses holder. I love the clean and Spartan interior of the Tesla Model 3, but it doesn't have an overhead sunglasses compartment, something that pretty much every other car, including my Nissan Leaf, has. What some people do is they'll 3D print clips and hang it off of the sun visor, but I don't like doing that. Kind of takes up space right where my head is. So I went with a behind the tablet design that I found. Just clips in right behind the MCU. It gives me a dedicated place to store my sunglasses that's out of the way. I always know where they are, and it's not going to be in somewhere where it's going to be rattling around with other stuff and potentially getting dirty or even scratched up. Second item on the list is a 3D printed washer fluid funnel. This is a pretty simple but highly practical one. A wide mouth stops me from spilling washer fluid all over the front, which I've done in the past, and the wide bottom keeps maximum flow into the reservoir so I don't have to drip feed it. It sits very firmly in the opening of the reservoir. It doesn't flop around like a lot of funnels do. And one of the most important things is it's ventilated, so the air that's displaced in the reservoir as it fills up doesn't have to bubble up through the fluid. The funnel's also nice and thick, which means it's durable, so in theory this should last the lifespan of the car. It's something so simple, but all of these little minor improvements make it worth 3D printing one rather than just buying a crappy one from the store. Number 3, a 3D printed Karen lock. Come on, you knew this one was going to be on the list. Normally, a Tesla will lock to the charging cable, so it can't be unplugged, but in the case of charging with a J1772, it only locks to the adapter, and the actual charging head can be removed from the adapter without any issue. And what this Karen lock does is it slides in over top of the release mechanism for the J1772 charging head, preventing it from unlocking. And because the adapter comes in from the Tesla connector end, you can't remove it unless you remove that from the Tesla itself, preventing people from just coming by and pulling the charger out. And something like this little locking collar is so small, so lightweight, fits anywhere in your car, and it gives you peace of mind knowing that they can't unplug your car while you're like 20 minutes away and you really need that charge. Fourth one on the list is a 3D printed cup holder insert. One somewhat common complaint about the Model 3's cup holders is that they're a little bit small, so larger drinks like Nalgene bottles and larger pop bottles can't fit in the cup holders. And what this 3D printed insert does is it gives you a larger opening to store larger bottles. And because the original cup holders are so offset, you can actually fit 2 of them in at the same time if you and your travel buddy both want some ridiculously large drinks. It also protects the actual cup holders themselves because you can just lift out the insert and wash it when needed, and it protects your actual cup holder from getting all dirty and grimy from drinks that naturally leak over time. Number 5, a low profile ice scraper. When you're road tripping or camping in winter, sometimes you have to leave your car parked outside overnight when some snow or freezing rain hits. You can have one of these either as a backup to a brush and ice scraper combo, or run it solo in areas where you don't normally encounter winter situations and you don't need the larger brush and scraper. I designed this to be very small, very compact, so it takes up no space and doesn't weigh much at all. And most importantly, I designed this tiny thing to be durable. I built this thing to basically be a brick. The only place where it's actually thin enough to break is on the scraping edge, and if it breaks, you can just sand it down to form a new edge. I designed ridges into the handle so it won't slide around when you're gripping it with really icy or snowy gloves. It's simple, portable, reliable, and I keep one of these in every car I've ever owned. Number 6, some visor hooks. So like I said, normally these are used to hold sunglasses, but I use them for a very different purpose on camping trips, and I use them to hang wet clothes. When you're camping in the winter, or if it's just particularly rainy, sometimes it can be really hard to not get wet. And if the weather just continues being trash, it can be really hard to get stuff to dry out, especially if you're camping in the car and you don't have a shelter to hang stuff up to dry. So what you do is you hang your wet clothes on these hooks and you turn on the HVAC system. You can leave it on overnight using camp mode if you're camping in the car or not, and basically turn the inside front part of your car into a dryer for your clothes. Because your HVAC system is on, you're not going to accumulate moisture anyways, so you can run it all night long, even if you're sleeping in the car, whatever the time of year. And number 7, a air vent phone mount. It's a secure phone mount that actually clips into the holes in your HVAC vent, which stops it from moving around or coming out. You can either put it on the driver's side for you, viewable through the gap in your steering wheel, if you need to run, say, a better route planner or Google Maps or any other GPS app, or if you're a passenger and you want to watch things like Netflix and YouTube, you can clip it over there so they can watch that while you're driving. And it doesn't just loosely hold the phone either, it actually clamps down on it by using an elastic in the back, so you can drive around on really rough terrain and this thing ain't going nowhere. The only downside to this design is it only supports landscape mode. It's not tall enough to support a phone in portrait mode. If you want to buy any of these items for yourself or get a hold of the 3D models to print your own, links are in the description. The next project I want to try and 3D print is a traction board. That should be an interesting project. If you want to see all of the backpacking and camping trips I get up to with my EVs, check the card.